The process of writing a polynomial as a product is called factoring. This is an important tool for solving an equation and for simplifying rational expressions. The simplest type of factoring involves a polynomial that can be written as a product of a monomial and another polynomial. The technique used here is the distributive property in the reverse direction. So if we look at this example here we have a binomial, and each term has a factor of a. So we can undistribute or factor that a out, and it leaves the sum of the two terms left. Removing, factoring out any common factor is the first step in completely factoring a polynomial. So this is always your first step. And we call this usually factoring out the greatest common factor, or the acronym is GCF. So let's try a few together. Looking at part A, we have a binomial. When I look at this binomial, I see that its greatest common factor is 5x squared. If I undistribute or divide out 5x squared, the binomial that will be left is 1x minus 3, or x minus 3. Now when I look at part B, I have a trinomial, but this trinomial is not in standard form, so I'm going to write it in standard form first before we factor. So that will be negative 12x cubed plus 6x minus 3. Now that this polynomial is in standard form, when I look at it, I see that my leading coefficient is negative. When your leading coefficient is negative, your GCF should be negative as well. So if I'm looking for negative GCF, the GCF of this trinomial is negative 3. And that will make negative 3 multiplied by 4x cubed minus 2x plus 1. Now part C might look a little more confusing, but when we pay attention to this problem, it is a binomial because there are two terms separated by subtraction. So if I look at this two terms binomial, I see that there is a binomial GCF of x plus 1. If I factor out this binomial GCF of x plus 1, we have to see that what will be left is what x plus 1 is being multiplied by, which is x squared minus 2. So sometimes there are binomial GCFs. We always look for greatest common factors first when factoring polynomials.